Most of us saw rain yesterday, and we all get cooler temperatures today. But how long will it last? We'll talk more about it right after this. What a beautiful scene it was yesterday in those places that did get rain. And as you see in this video from Melissa Bristow over in Waxahachie, there were some gusty winds with those storms as well. And yeah, I mean, you can see plenty of wet stuff happening, which has been the first rain we've gotten in a while. I think the last measurable rain we had in Waxahachie was July 11th before yesterday, and you can see very clearly here those very strong winds blowing in and all the rain that was coming down. And I know that not all of you got rain. I know there's some folks over in Midlothian that are pretty unhappy with how things unfolded. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. And we knew that farther south they would get more rain yesterday. And we also had a lot of dust, unfortunately, on the front end of those storms. Very strong outflow winds that were blowing the dust around. But we look at the map this morning and we can see where most of the rain was. Again, if you were in Johnson County, you were pretty fortunate, at least for most of Johnson County. There were spots that don't appear to have gotten much. This is all radar indicated here. But about let's say 7/10 of an inch, close to an inch there around the Cleburne area. And you know, the thing is that I understand there's heavier spots. I'm just going by the county seats here, but it's radar estimated about 7/10 of an inch in the town of Cleburne. About 3/10 of an inch at Midway Regional Airport in Waxahachie. Actually, Midway Regional Airport didn't get anything, so this is right in town in Waxahachie. And I believe here at the studio it got right at about 3/10 of an inch, so that's pretty accurate there as well. And then Corsicana about 1/4 of an inch, but you can see different parts of Navarro County got more rain, especially closer to Richland Chambers Lake there. And then about 6/10 of an inch there in Hillsboro, but you can see here heavier amounts, almost 3 inches or even over 3 inches in parts of right around west there, and then down in southern Freestone County there, and then over in closer to Palestine. I was looking at radar estimating 5 to 6 inches of rain. Just crazy amounts of rain yesterday relative to what we've had. Definitely feast or famine for the most part. And unfortunately today, we don't really have much rain going on, and we do get a little bit warmer, but not terribly warm. Definitely not as warm as we have been. We'll be in the mid-90s today, and this is right around normal. If you recall, our normal temperature right now is 95 degrees. So for once, we actually get to be where we should be. And then overnight tonight, pretty nice compared to where we have been. Low 70s for those lows out there. I won't be surprised to see one or two maybe get into the just barely the upper 60s, but for the most part I think most of us are in the low 70s. This is fire risk, that should say today. This is the fire risk that we're looking at for today. We have those breezy northeast winds, and yes, we got some rain yesterday, but it wasn't enough. All that will evaporate, dry out, and it's not enough to knock out the drought conditions that we have across our area, so we do still have a fire risk across our area, and that will persist really for the rest of the week, at least. So we will keep an eye on that. We look out in the tropics, and we have a couple of things we're talking about. We've been talking about Hurricane Franklin, but he's going to go out into the water, so not really do anything here. This is the next big story, Tropical Storm Idalia, that should become a hurricane probably later today. And I've been looking at some of the frames on this storm. It's already trying to carve out kind of an eye-like feature there. So that will head north and could become a major hurricane. I was saying not long ago that we really weren't expecting, at least I wasn't expecting this storm to get past Cat 1, maybe 2. Now they're forecasting Category 3 before it makes landfall in Florida. And there was a comment someone made, a very dramatic, almost apocalyptic prediction of this storm. I don't think we quite get there, but that was like a week or two ago. And I think this is one of the few times that the GFS model, which has a tendency to spin up a lot of hurricanes in a season, if the GFS was right, we'd have 40 or 50 hurricanes a year. But I think this is one of those where it just happened to put the right thing in the right place at the right time. But it will become a hurricane later today, go up between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba there, get into very warm waters with little wind shear, just a perfect environment, and be there long enough to reach Category 3 strength before moving across Florida and up into the Atlantic Ocean over by Georgia and the Carolinas, and then eventually go out to sea. But it will knock some things around before it does that. Now, that won't impact us here. Let's talk about the big picture of where things are. Here's the front that came through yesterday, and the high pressure system, that ridge has pushed off to the west. That's what allowed us to get some of that rain in yesterday. The jet stream continuing on to our north. Now, we've been talking a lot about how that jet stream, as we get into the fall, will start to sag southward, and that will allow us to get some cooler air. It's going to be very interesting, and I mentioned this last week as well. My good buddy Evan Andrews over at Fox 4, I mentioned this the other day, he talked to the National Weather Service and found out that warmer summers, like we've had this summer, tend to have more mild winters. However, if you recall the video I made about El Nino, we also tend to see cooler, wetter winters in El Nino years, and they've been looking at this as possibly a more intense El Nino pattern. So what's going to happen? Are we going to have a more mild winter like we've had in past hot summer years? Or will El Nino take over, pull this further south, and give us more consistent cool temperatures this winter? It's going to be very, very interesting. We have kind of two extremes almost that are going to battle each other out, and so we'll have to see which one wins out, and that might tell us a few things about what El Nino can do versus what a really hot summer, a really stubborn ridge pattern can do. We'll see, and it may be spring before we really can dig into that and know for sure. But I will tell you that that high pressure ridge will stay west of us, but it will creep eastward. The good news, we'll get into the forecast and show you that. I do have a low chance of a few showers and thunderstorms later today. We have dry air in place, but I really think that we could have just enough moisture to pop up a few afternoon thunderstorms, especially around Navarro County and maybe towards Palestine and Fairfield, that area. So just a 20% chance of maybe a storm later today. Northeast winds. I'm trying to talk too fast here. Northeast winds of 5 to 15 miles per hour. And then, yes, we do gradually warm up here. 96 Tuesday, 98, 99 by Thursday. And then, yes, by the weekend, we are in the triple digits. Now, the good thing is, you notice there's no 105 up here. So we're getting past the excessive heat. I think we might have turned the page on that, because I think that we're going to see more consistent interruptions in that ridge as we get into September. September 1st is Friday. That's also the beginning of meteorological fall. So presumably, we should be able to kick this pattern, and it's not abnormal to get a few 100s in September, especially early in the month when we're still kind of falling off of that summer pattern. So 101 Friday, 102 Saturday for the Twister screening. A note on that, tickets. I was just checking this morning. Tickets are going fast, so make sure to go to the Texas Theater's website. That's the Texas Theater in Waxahachie, thetxtheater.com/tickets. Pick up your tickets. 5 o'clock is... the center seats are almost sold out at this point. 8 o'clock will be selling out very quickly after that. So make sure you get your tickets there. But yes, those southerly winds return and we do warm up. Now, Sunday is something to watch. Right now I have us at right around 100 degrees. There's a chance we could see that ridge of high pressure kind of scoot over a little bit and allow some showers and thunderstorms, possibly some Gulf moisture in here. So that could end up cooling down as well. Right now I'm skeptical. It's far out in the forecast. As we get closer, we'll get an idea of what to expect there. But again, get your tickets for the Twister screening. We'll spend Saturday evening in the air conditioning watching a really wonderful show and raising some money for some kids in the process. But enjoy the 90s while they're here. And like I said, the dangerous fire risk does continue. We didn't get enough rain yesterday to kick that, so these breezy northeast winds, they're cooler winds, but they can spread a fire just as easily. So keep that in mind. The fire danger's still here. We do have cooler temperatures. We will warm up, but not quite as bad. So stay tuned this week and make sure to get those tickets to that Twister screening.